All right, everyone. Welcome to the press conference for the 2024 Preserve Championship presented by Microsoft Teams. I guess let's talk about the partnership with Microsoft Teams first. Can you break down, how that came to be, Cale?
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to Minnesota, y'all. Microsoft Teams, obviously, one of the biggest companies in the world. Joey Terrelson, who's my buddy from Microsoft, he's attended the Preserve Championship the last 4 years. He's a Minnesota guy on the disc golf scene. And after the event last year, he kind of approached me and was asking ways for Microsoft Teams to get involved. And, obviously trying to get a huge sponsor like that, someone outside of the disc golf industry, was something I've always wanted to do. It was great having Prodigy be the title sponsor for years, but, now that Microsoft is on board, we're able to have all the manufacturers here on site and kind of improve and enhance the vendor village area. And I obviously wanted Microsoft involved, so he reached out and we met and kind of played around together and talked about some ways that we could make this happen, and created the Disc Golf Tour Talk community on Microsoft Teams. And we've been able to pull top pros for guests every week and do some Q&As and some contests and some giveaways and stuff in there, and it's just been great. Microsoft Teams is traditionally more in the business sense of the industry, but they're really trying to improve the personal side and the social media side of it. So we're kind of finding ways to blend that with disc golf, and it's been a great match. So thank you, Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, congrats on that partnership again, Cale. And I wanted to ask you, what your role is for this week. I heard that you kind of passed the torch on for this property. Does that mean that you are also, clear of any responsibility for the tournament, or what's your involvement there?
I did. At the middle of last year, I kind of sold out of the Preserve business, and with Victoria and I having a baby on the way, it just was something I knew I wasn't going to be able to dedicate as much time to this place as needed. So I was able to do that, and this place is, always be my baby. I still think of it as my own, but as far as my responsibilities for this year and this week goes, I pretty much have none. I was involved with all the course changes that we did, the course design stuff, communicating with the Pro Tour on the tee sign, stuff like that, and then also seeking sponsorships. But beyond that, I have zero responsibility. I get to just be able to enjoy myself this week and, greet all my friends coming into town, all you guys, and really just enjoy the action, which is also a huge reason why I'm so bummed that I can't play this week, because usually I got so much going on in my head, and playing is kind of an afterthought, but I would still do it. And this week I was looking forward to just, competing and enjoying it, but obviously that's not able to happen. So I'll just be here spectating, enjoying with my family and friends, and taking in all the action.
Well, let's zoom in on that injury. We saw you post about it a few weeks ago, and then shortly after, you won an A-tier down in Kansas City, and then you nearly made the final 9 at Masters Worlds in MP40 division. Talk about what that was like playing with an injury and why you've made the decision to not play this week.
Yeah, so it happened, I just got the stitches out yesterday, so it's been about 16 days since this happened. I had a bad fall. It just happened to put my left hand down on a super sharp rock. Completely sliced my hand open, and the muscles and tendons and nerves and stuff like that. So Masters World was coming up, something that was super important to me to go compete in, about 7 days after the injury happened. So I went down to KC because I haven't been playing at all. I wanted to get a little tournament reps in. My buddy Jake Schlahek caddied for me the entire event, and we did good. I ended up winning the event, and 2 days later, Masters World started, and it was just 96 degrees, 90% humidity every single day, and my hand just was just blowing up. The pain was increasing day to day, which was supposed to be going the other way, so I was definitely doing some damage to it. And then about halfway through the event, my middle finger was going numb. Right now I can't feel it at all, which is a little bit worrisome. And I just was not able to get any distance. Every time I go to follow through hard on a distance shot, I would just be jolting in pain. So we got some huge events coming up the next couple of weeks. We got the Majestic in Des Moines. And with me feeling like this and the Preserve being very demanding, I just decided it was probably best to just try to enjoy the week, and and spectate rather than try to push it anymore and do any more damage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that heals up for you, Cale. Tragic injury out there. Designing a course, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just walking through the woods, I guess. Getting old sucks, y'all.
Well, Cale, let's zoom in on the part of the preserve that you're still heavily involved in, and that's the course design. I feel like this year is probably the least that it's changed from year to year. Talk about the two significant changes, I believe, hole 8 and hole 10.
Yeah, gladly. So hole 8, traditionally it's been a par 5 since we started the event. It plays all along this long, narrow stretch of pond, and then it was elevated up to a green that was a sweet green. But you're really close to hole 9, which is our pavilion hole, which is our huge spectating area. There's beverages, food out there, so we have a huge gathering of people. And where the green was placed, it was kind of tucked into these trees, and you couldn't see it from any of the main spectating areas, even though we were within about 150 yards of it. So what we wanted to do is change that from a par 5 to a par 4, so we shortened it up, and we placed the basket right on water's edge. So now all the spectators who were kind of lining the fairway watching the old hole, and then everyone from the pavilion is able to see the entire hole, see the basket, see people putting out. So for spectating, it's wonderful. I think it plays really, really nice too. The basket's about 35 feet from water's edge. You got to throw a big drive, and then you got to really push the water's edge to get the birdie on that one. It's probably going to play about a half stroke more difficult than the par 5 did. But I really like it. The spectators will enjoy it and be able to see a lot more now. And we've been getting pretty good feedback on that from most players. I know Ezra was the only one to ever get the eagle on the par 5, so he was a little bummed. But and I can't blame him. But yeah, so that's hole 8, new par 4. Hole 10 is still a par 5, but what we did is we've messed around with different tee areas on that hole. And the first year we did the Preserve Championship, the basket was on the same side of Victoria's Creek as the tee. And so we kind of tweaked the tee area, and now the basket is on the same side again. So essentially you got a pinch point on your second shot where you can't just bomb over the creek. You got to throw into the bottleneck a little bit and kind of decide how far you want to go. And then the basket is kind of perched on a slope on essentially an island green. And so you obviously want to get close to the island to be able to attack it for birdie, but the closer you get, the tighter the OB gets. So
yeah, it's 11:20. So how far away do you think they're going to be approaching from on the 10th?
You know, people that throw huge drives, you have all the room in the world on your drive, which is part of why I love that hole. Spectators can kind of see everyone air out. But then, you know, the big arms, you know, you can get to within 200 feet of the island, but again, the OB just gets tighter up there. So I think a lot of people would probably be trying to play to about 300, 350, 370 to the green, and then kind of attack it from there.
Cool.
A little bit less risk, and you can still get the birdie. So I think that's what most people will be doing.
And kind of the talk this week has been the looming weather forecast. How do you feel like the grounds here are going to withstand the amount of rain that's predicted?
Yeah, you know, you got to be careful what you wish for, because we've had a couple years where it's been severe drought, and so I'm always just hoping for rain. And this year we've had an abundance. It's pretty much been raining every day. But you know, this property is designed to drain water. There's a couple areas like where a lot of the players would be camping, which have gotten pretty muddy. But the course itself should be fine. I'm not too worried about that. Obviously, we're going to have, you know, thousands of spectators coming on site and parking. I think that's the main concern, is just people not getting stuck.
Yeah.
But hopefully, you know, we got great grounds people here, a lot of great volunteers and DGPT crew who are going to keep these tee pads, you know, as good as they can possibly be in the rain. But if it comes, you know, the ponds will just be more fill for us to swim in. So I'm not mad.
Well, Cale, thanks so much for the interview, and I guess we'll be spectating together out there this week.
I can't wait.
Looking forward to it.
I'll roll them around with you on the microphone, give some extra insight if I can.
That would be great.
All right, buddy.
All right, guys, we will be right back with Katrina Allen. All right, everyone, welcome back. We're here with the 2023 Preserve champion, Katrina Allen.
Hi.
Katrina, welcome back.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Coming back to, your home state, right?
So I did grow up in Minnesota. Yeah, I live
Yeah.
in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, but couple of things. Yeah, I grew up in Pipestone, Minnesota, graduated from there. But I was living in Sioux Falls when I first started playing disc golf,
Okay.
and my courses flooded, and I had kind of heard the buzz about it was called Sundog League, and then there was all kinds of other leagues. So on my days off, I would just come up, and I could play like a morning league,
Yeah.
afternoon league, a glow league, and it was just, I mean, the disc golf scene is, I can't say that it is now because I haven't been up here for a while
Yeah.
because of the tour, but oh my gosh, it was, huge.
So you still feel partial to both South Dakota and Minnesota disc golf?
South Dakota disc golf is kind of, in my opinion, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and then, like Black Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And since I've been back in Sioux Falls, I've been on tour, and so when I'm home, it's winter, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not as involved. But yeah, I would say that was kind of where I started, and yeah.
Well, talk about the decision to play this event. You took off the West Coast swing, and you just told us, like, you have to defend no matter
Yeah.
what the circumstances are.
Yeah.
Talk about that decision.
So to be completely honest, we had decided before I knew I was pregnant to not play those two events.
Okay.
What I would love to see is something more the way the Midwest tours are, where it was like, the Texas swing, 4 great events that
Mm-hmm.
really work really nicely together. But just having one big event somewhere so far from where we're from like the last event and where we are, Stockton is between flights and rental car and stuff like that. It was like
Yeah.
kind of didn't financially make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a good break for me, kind of like a mini off season.
Mm-hmm.
I've just kind of been tuning things in with the body changes and stuff. So yeah.
And so how much are you throwing the disc still during that time off?
So I would say I've played 4 to 6 times a week. I try to take a
Still
day
a
off.
lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I notice I can't throw as many shots. So it's more like throw my bag, then I get a putting session in, throw my bag back to the car kind of a thing. Not like yes, I'll 100% at the end of yesterday's round because I decided to throw 3 to 5 shots every hole. And I was like pretty ready to be done. But
So you still feel like you're ready to play at a high level this week?
Yeah, I would say timing can be difficult. Just, I guess though, as someone who's studied sports and physical, activity my whole life, your core is where you get all your balance, and the stronger your core, the better.
Yeah.
And now I have a 20-pound weight there, so it can be a little infuriating. But then there's
Yeah.
some days where I feel amazing and timing feels good and shots feel crispy. So just trying to be patient with myself is really my ultimate goal for the weekend. Standing around kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So I played yesterday and I felt fine, and then I sat in the car because Austin putted for a while, and then we got out to go to the grocery store, and I am so stiff. So I'm a little nervous about the weather and conditions and standing around a lot.
Yeah.
It seems like once I warm up in the field and am going, my shots feel great, but standing around will definitely be.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
Yeah.
And with the rain coming, I know typically you don't like to have a caddy.
Yeah.
We see you carrying your own bag. Is that
Yeah.
something that you'll kind of switch up if the rain really does come?
No, and the real reason for me is just, I don't know, I feel like, especially as someone who followed golf first, I want a caddy who knows my bag, who knows my game, who knows how to react, and that's more why I don't have a caddy, is because I just feel like I can get inside. I've won both my worlds without a caddy. I've won a lot of tournaments without a caddy, and
Yeah.
unless it's someone who's going to bring some good insight or know me, or or in the past, if I've been struggling, I've asked Austin to come out and kind of keep me in a good headspace and help me make better decisions on the course. But no, I'm so stubborn. I'll probably still carry my bag just for that mental clarity.
And with the amount of rain that we have coming, I know it's quite a specific question, but like, what does your rain routine look like? Are you one to be able to throw with the disc wet, or are you making sure that it's completely dry every single time you throw and putt?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to. I think there's a point where you kind of are just like, get a grip. The one thing I think I did a long time ago is I've never used a birdie bag or any kind of chalk or any kind of, and so when the conditions change, I don't have to rely on that. I can kind of, I don't know, like whether it's humid or not. So I'd never really have a lot of grip issues. I mean, don't get me wrong, it can get pretty intense with some of this weather and the humidity. I have grip issues, but I always feel like that's been a benefit. I think something else that doesn't have to do with that is I always seem sometimes in the rain to play better because I feel like, oh, you don't have to birdie now. And then I'm like catch myself birdieing because I feel like I'm relaxed and there's no pressure. So we'll see. But yeah.
Well, Katrina, we were looking over your stats this week, and you've won an Elite Series or National Tour at least once.
I know.
Every year since 2012,
yeah,
I believe.
It is
I think that's the second longest active streak and maybe top 5 across both MPO and FPO.
Yeah.
You're aware of that,
yes,
clearly.
Yeah.
And what would it mean to you to continue that streak or to see it close this year?
Yeah, unfortunately, like I think I had the longest cash streak and I ended that last season, and I've had a lot of things. I mean, I know that's just part of having a long career.
Yeah.
I saw one of the most like awesome comments I've seen in a very long time where I had made a long putt and Jomez shared it from what was it, the Open at Austin, and someone was like, I'm so impressed with how long she stayed at the top of the game. And that kind of took some pressure off that, like, I'm so hard on myself. Like, if I don't win one this year, it'll really suck to lose that stretch. But I also have to remember, I mean, they all streaks end eventually. And the fact that it would be because I'm having, a daughter is pretty awesome. So,
that is awesome. Well, my next question is, how long do you see yourself doing this, especially with, you're starting a family? Like, do you still see yourself coming out on the tour next year and in following years?
Yeah, so I'm still under contract, and, the agreement was for me to tour. And so, I would love to be back. I'm kind of open GMC, with a healthy pregnancy and everything good and feeling like I'm ready. I would love to do that. I'll be honest, I have no idea where I am in the standings for the Disc Golf Pro Tour finale, but I'd love to do maybe Green Mountain, MVP, and Throw Pink for sure.
Cool.
And then my goal is, while she's young, would be to have an outstanding season next year that would, afford me a great contract for maybe 4 more years. And then once she's time for her to enter school and start doing that stuff, then probably.
Wow,
but
that's a long career.
But I mean,
that's amazing.
I don't even think I'm the oldest on tour right now. So I mean, yeah, I think I should still be fine. Yeah, and I mean, still competitive, and
Cool. Well, Katrina, thank you so much for the interview, and good luck with the conditions this week.
Yeah,
See you
you
there.
guys too. Good luck to everybody with the conditions.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back, guys. All right, welcome back. We're here now with Ricky Wysocki. And Ricky, we were like, why are we interviewing you? Like, maybe you won this tournament last year. I don't know. It's hard to tell. We like get all your wins like mixed up. You won this tournament last year, right?
Yeah, 2 out of 3 years actually. So I got one, and then I got second the year Brad played really well.
Yeah.
Williams, he won it 2 years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
So he beat me, and I got second. So I went win, second, and then win.
That's right. That was a big win for Brad.
Yep, he played solid. He played great that year. But yeah, I feel comfortable here at the Preserve Kills.
Yeah.
You know, there's not much OB, so it's you know you can kind of have there's not too much punishment as far as off the tee goes.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about just getting yourself putts and looks at the basket, and I'm good at that.
So you feel like when the course has less OB and more freedom off the tee that you feel like you're going to shine a little bit more?
Yeah, I think so. I think that I, for some reason just feel a little bit less restricted. I mean, obviously out of bounds, there's like USDGC style courses. I can change my game plan if I have to, but yeah, I just feel more free to throw shots. You don't feel handcuffed like, hey, if I miss the shot up, my tournament could be over. Like at USDGC, you never know when you're going to go out of bounds and have to go to a drop zone that you're really uncomfortable with. So there's not really that style out here. It's more just throw it, and wherever you land, you kind of got to scrap a shot from there.
Yeah. So what's the practice looked like for you this week?
Yeah, actually, this is my second round through because a couple days ago I think they had like a tornado watch out here. It was real windy, and so I think that was 2 days ago. Yeah, on Tuesday. Yeah, so didn't get a ton of practice, but I've obviously played this course a bunch and feel real comfortable. There's not too many changes, maybe a basket here or there, placement change, but other than that, it's pretty similar course to what I'm used to.
Yeah, can you talk about the equipment that's really shining for you right now? Like, what drivers are you using on a course like this?
Yeah, for me, my new General's been getting thrown a lot just because it's a lot of.
Is that 12 speed?
Yeah, 12 speed. And it's I just like the complement of glide and stability. You can throw them into headwinds and trust it for me and throw it forehand, backhand. It's a very versatile distance driver, and I think that it's just the type of disc, like I said, that you can crush flat and know it's going to glide and have stability, which is tough to find. A lot of times you have a disc that kind of has a lot of stability but doesn't have the glide off the get-go. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, anyways, I'm throwing that a lot, and then really just a lot of putters into the par fours. Like hole one is just, crush a driver and then try to control your speed into the green, give yourself a putt. And, yeah, out here you have to go low. Like I said, there's no out of bounds, so people are going to be going low, so you got to get a lot of birdies, sprinkle in an eagle on 18 maybe.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you're going to have to shoot 12, 13 under each round if you want to have a chance to win, and I definitely can do that.
And with the conditions, with the rain and the wind predicted this weekend, do you still feel like you're going to have to go that low?
Yeah, I mean, it obviously all dependent. If 12, 13 on average, if there's no wind or rain.
Yeah.
But if you add that in there, you obviously take a couple strokes off of that. 8, 9, 10 under is a good round if it's rainy and windy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's as a player, you got to take what the conditions give you, and don't get too aggressive. If it's too windy or wet. When you have slippery boxes and slippery run-ups on the fairways and all that stuff. So. Yeah, experience definitely plays a factor when it comes to that, the tougher conditions, and I feel like that's where I have a leg up.
Yeah, do you see the forecast and you kind of like to put a little low fist pump down there? You're like, yes, like scratch off, half the tour when it's that much rain.
Yeah, I think that, it definitely takes a certain mindset to fight through it because everyone's going to get frustrated and you're not going to be able to throw shots that you normally can throw. You're going to slip. You're going to have shots slip out of your hand, and so you just got to. Obviously, you're not thinking about it, but in the back of your head it might happen. And so I think that, lowering your expectations a little bit, knowing that, hey, the scoring conditions are a lot tougher. And I think that's something that a lot of, I'm not going to say pros, but amateurs have a tough time with, as they try to go to the local course when it's ripping wind and try to slam in 50, 60-foot putts and wonder why they're shooting 3 over because the 3-putting. It's like, yeah, the wind's tough. So, yeah, you really have to be able to make a game plan. Like you said, look at the forecast beforehand and say, hey, where can I expect to shoot when it's windy and rainy like this?
Yeah. Well, Rick, I just asked Katrina a very similar question, but 13 years in a row now, you've at least had one win, Elite Series or National Tour, and you've yet to do it this year. What would it mean to you to continue that streak?
Yeah, I mean, it's something obviously I'm striving for week in and week out, and I've been very close, a lot of times this year. And so that alone gives me confidence. Obviously, I haven't got to cross that line to get the win. But it's something where I know where my game's at right now, and I feel really good with where it's at. It's like I said, I've gotten a lot of top fives and way too many second places this year. But once again, like I said, it's right there. I'm in position a lot of weeks, and that's what it takes. This day and age of the game, there's a lot of good players, and it's all about keeping yourself in contention week in and week out. And if you do that, you're gonna get yourself into position where you take advantage of that. And so I know I'm the type of player where I feed off confidence, and so I'm pretty confident right now, and that's that's going to lead to a win.
And Rick, for you, what's the difference between a top 5 finish and a win, as far as like how much the difference in the execution? Is it big or is it small when it gets that close?
Yeah, I mean, it's not at all. I mean, it's just the difference. Like last week or 2 weeks ago in Beaver State Fling, it's a difference between skipping OB by an inch on the island hole and not. So it's like I end up parring that hole instead of birding it, and then that would have changed the whole dynamics of how 18 finished. I was just getting hyper aggressive trying to do something that out of my ordinary. But yeah, I mean, it's just to answer your question, not much at all. I mean, the margin for error is razor thin. You have a spit out, or you have a missed putt by an inch, and that's the difference between winning and losing. And that's that's where our game's at right now. And so it's awesome because that, hey, I got to go out there and execute if I want to win. So I love the competitive spirit that it takes to win. But at the same time, like I said, there's no room for a little bit of being off. That's if that's the case, you're just not going to win that week. And so yeah, it's just all about getting yourself ready mentally and physically, having your game in a spot to where you can execute those shots by an inch instead of having them not go your way.
Yep. Rick, thank you. Here's one more for you.
Thank you.
Jefferson from the disc golf world. Ricky, we saw you cash a WSOP event. Is there one memorable hand you can tell us about?
Yeah, that was pretty fun. That was the whole week was a great experience. But yeah, I flopped quad queens on one of the hands, and I made a lot of chips on that hand. But yeah, it was super fun. I got to see Phil Hellmuth, one of the goats of the poker world, and just kind of dive into the World Series of Poker, which it's like Disneyland for poker players. It was a lot of fun. Got to break the pace up from the disc golf tour and just take a break and play some poker. So that was a lot of fun. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and hopefully I can down the road play another one and maybe make a final table someday. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you. We'll be right back.
Appreciate it.
Welcome back. We've got now 4-time FP40 champion, 4 consecutive titles in that division. Ohn, did you win by how many? 18? 20?
I think it was,
25?
25, 24? I think so, something like that.
That's incredible feat, Ohn. Congratulations on that. And what was that experience like playing for your 4th title?
It's so relaxing because when I play Beaver State thing was like quite intense, and when I play Master, it was like so chill. I'm like, oh my god, this is like, it's just another week, just like with friend, play with friend, you know. So
Yeah.
no, it's nothing stressful at all. Yeah.
Well, how much did the finish at Beaver State Fling kind of weigh on you? You were playing just less than 72 hours later in Emporia. Was it difficult to shake off that playoff loss?
Oh no, not at all. You know, I've been there so many times. I've been play pro tour so many times, and you count it how many times I'm on the second place. Every year, probably like 5 or 6 times second place. So I've been through that a lot. For me, it's just another second place. You know, I move on. It's nothing gonna shake me. Like no one get my goat. You know, for me, it's just like I prepare myself very well. I prepare myself to the high point and the low point. So on that moment, I was thinking, if I win, it will be great. If I lost, it's okay because I already like prepare myself to worse and high situations. So.
Well, do you leave yourself a moment to celebrate, 4 titles in a row, or are you heading right back up to Minnesota to train for this one?
Yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, I don't have time to celebrate much over there.
Yeah.
Because after the win, so I have to drive to airport. So because my husband had to fly the next day. After that, and I just came here. So pretty much like, I don't celebrate much out there. But for me, you know what? I celebrate every day.
Yeah.
You know, after the round, practice round or tournament, I always celebrate. You know, I'm enjoy life every moment. So, it's just another day. It's just another happy day for me. Yeah.
Well, Ohn, what's your take on the Black Bear course here at the Preserve?
Oh, this one?
Yeah. What's your take on this track?
Oh, boring golf for me for sure. You're not gonna see me much birdie or nothing. Tomorrow you're just gonna getting me like, God, she just lay up again. She just like play for par again. Like it's just gonna be like that. I wish I woke up one day and I throw 400 feet, but unfortunately, I only throw like 300 or 330. But I feel like if I play smart enough or make a putt, I think I can do like maybe between 1 or 3 or 4 down.
You always say that. Every week, Ohn.
Hey,
and
it's
then,
good to be humble.
And you shoot 8 or 12.
Yeah.
I think you said that at Austin when you,
Yeah,
when
you know,
shot
but
25 on the weekend.
I feel like something to do with this course is like a lot of hole. Like it's hard for me to get a birdie. If I need birdie, I need to make like a circle 2 putt, like jump big putt. Unfortunately, I feel like this weekend I'm just gonna. If it's that far, just gonna play smart because sometimes it can be windy, you know. And then it's just not suit my game very well in this court. But I'm not come here to be scared of those, you know. I come here for having fun and see what I can do. So.
Yeah. Well, Ohn, are you one to check the forecast? Have you seen how much rain is predicted on the weekend?
I'm tired of that. Yes, I do. And everybody probably should know by now, I play bad in the rain. My spirits went down, my putting, my driving. You know, golfer in Lao, my name is Squirrel.
In Lao.
Yeah, in Lao, my name is Squirrel. Or you know, squirrel live under the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, squirrel don't like rain. You know what I'm saying? That's who I am. So, we'll see. I'm not excited about rain, but I'll try my best to rip my spirit up high. So.
Well, is Justin back to help you this week with the rain?
Oh no, unfortunately, he have to go back and meeting his boss and. He had a lot of meeting to do.
Yeah.
He's, you know, he's have his job, I have my job, but of course his heart and my heart always connecting. And he'll see me next week. But God, I need him for sure.
Well, so who's his replacement this week?
My friend Jenny Armstead. Yeah, shout out to her. She's gonna carry my bag tomorrow. And then the next day, who knows? I'm probably just. Because Justin not with me, and I'm shy to asking for people to carry for me. You know, I'm just if anybody texts me, I'm like cool, you know. But otherwise, it's just me and my bag and my friends surrounding.
So 1 to 3 under per round. Where do you think that will get you in the tournament? What do you think is going to be hot every day?
Oh, you know what? I think like this year because I see a lot of people game They can be like 10 or 11 down.
Yeah.
Or I feel like it have to be 8 from 8 to 11 downs. 5 or 6 down is not good anymore in this course, especially when the lady can throw like 450 or 500 feet.
Yeah.
I feel like for that far you can throw, you should be able to birdie everything. And we have 18 hole. And I feel like hot round should be 11 or 10, yeah.
All right. Well, Ohn, thank you so much for the interview, and good luck fighting the wind and the rain this weekend here at the Preserve.
Cool. Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you out there.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
And we'll be back shortly. All right, everyone, welcome back. We've got Gannon Buhr here. Gannon, give me a few reasons why you're not the best player in the world.
It's a tough question on the spot. Honestly, it feels like it's pretty close right now. I mean, I think I have a good case for being the best player in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think I if I get another win or play solid a couple more tournaments, I think that'll kind of cement it, at least for like this part of the tour. Obviously, when you look at the entire year, we still have half the year left, so a lot of tournaments left. But like this part of the season, I'm feeling like I'm definitely up there.
Yep. And I want you to zoom in on a couple other players. When Anthony Barella won 3 of the first 5, you played with him at a couple of those final rounds when he took it down. Like, are you ever thinking like, where is he when you get your last 2 wins in a row? Are you ever thinking about a specific player, like why didn't Calvin show up? Why didn't AB show up on the week that you won?
Maybe a little bit. I know AB's kind of had a rough stretch these last couple events.
Yeah.
Kind of been tailing off a little bit.
What do you think that is?
I don't know. Well, when he got a bad finish at Portland, I talked to him about it, and I mean, the round just like got away from him. It wasn't like he did anything like stupid or anything. It just a couple bad shots, and just almost, he said it felt like he just found every OB he could. So, I mean, I think he's still trying. Sometimes that's how it goes. You just get a rough stretch, and disc golf, it can almost feel like these birdies are just like a miracle to happen. And I've been there a lot of times, actually, especially last year when I was kind of up and down. It's a tough feeling. It's tough because it puts a lot of pressure on the next event, because you like almost feel like you need to perform to kind of make up for like your bad performance the last weekend.
Yeah.
And you might play bad again, and it kind of just weighs on you. And you have these, when you haven't had a win, there's not a ton of expectations to win, so it's easy to get a couple, I feel like, and then you almost expect yourself to win. And then that's kind of a bad mindset I got myself in last year, was like, I'm able to win, so I should win every week. And when I wasn't, in the lead after the first round, I'd kind of panic, and they would kind of ruin my tournament. This year, I've been doing a good job of realizing, at the end of round 3, if I just play solid, I should end up on top or close to the top.
Yeah.
And so I've been just playing really smooth and not thinking too much about what happens in round 1. I think that could be something he might be struggling with. I'm sure he'll bounce back. This is a great course for AB to play good at. I know he's played good here in the past a little bit, so I expect to see him definitely close to the top.
So you think your mindset is the difference between last year's up and down and this year? Your worst finish, 13th place at Swenson, OTB?
Yeah.
Is it anything to do with your actual disc golf game itself, or do you think it's just all in between the ears?
Well, I think it's between the ears is affecting my disc golf game in a way of, I try to break down every course to have a low OB rate, a low bogey rate, and then also to always give myself a chance, even if it's, not as close as somebody else. I stepped up to, I believe it's hole 10 out here, the par 5, in a new position, my first time playing it yesterday. And, I was playing with Alden. He was kind of telling me like where to land, and I threw just a straight putter on my second shot to lay up. He's like, "Oh, that's terrible." And I get there, and I'm like 380 away, and I'm safe. So I'm like, "Hey, that's fine. Safe after 2. Within 400 feet, I can get up and down most times."
Yeah.
And so if I'm not throwing it away on that second shot or the tee shot, if you always give yourself a chance, you're gonna birdie 9 to 10 holes depending on like how the course is. And if you don't drop any strokes, you go 9 down a round on the Pro Tour, you can win tournaments. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just not bogeying. All my good tournaments is I'm just really not bogeying that much.
So how has practice gone for you this week? How many rounds have you put in, and how are you feeling about doing another 9 or 10 down?
I feel good. My first round was yesterday, and I'm about to get one in right after this.
Did you go home?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went home because it's about 4.5 hours from here. So went home, flew right after, like the day after Beaver State was over. I flew home, and so I've been home. It's been good spending some time at home. I got to relax a little bit. I got the Eiffel Tower Lego set, so I've been building that.
Cool.
And that's been awesome. And then, of course, the biggest thing when I went home was just trying to figure out my bag before I go over to Europe. I want to make sure my bag feels really good and confident, because if you don't trust your tools, you're probably not going to play that good.
So you are making the trip this year?
Yes. I got 3 events. I'm playing the Crocole, the European Open, and the Estonia Festival Tournament.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, coming right back for Ledgestone and Idlewild, and then Worlds, I think, 2 weeks after that. So it's going to be a long stretch of tournaments, but I'm just
stop for you.
so excited for the experience in Europe. I can't wait.
Cool. Well, so when you go home, Gannon, is that a place where you are just strictly relaxing, or are you still getting throws in? Are you putting in the basement still?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good mix of both. When I go home, I never just like take a day off, really. I mean, it's very rare I take more than 2 days off. I mean, I I don't think I had a day off when I went home. I was either just either at a course playing with some friends I hadn't seen in a while, or one of my favorite things to do is go out with like 50 discs I've never thrown and just see how they fly, and maybe they'll make the bag. And so I do that, and I just try to find stuff that will fit maybe a slot I'm missing in my bag. And so I filled a couple. I'm carrying like a couple more discs than I usually do, but I think it's going to help me. I know I'm throwing this new Cloud Breaker a lot on a couple holes out here. If you see it, it's pink. It's been flying good because it's like straight to stable for a distance driver. Usually I just go PD2 and then flippy DD3, so I was kind of missing that slot in the middle, and so I found it when I went home. So when I go home, I use it, I use what I have at my house, and I go and test stuff out. That way, I can play my best disc golf when I come back out on tour.
Yeah. When you're hanging with your friends back home, are they just grilling you about what life is like out on the tour? What's the conversation about?
I mean, not much. I mean, I probably only have like 2 or 3 close friends from school, and so that's we hang out a little bit. We were playing some like Minecraft the last couple of days before I came up here, and that was super fun. But I also got them into disc golf like when I kind of started playing, so they know how to play. They're decent, so we would go out and play a couple rounds, and that's just so fun. But when I was out to play those rounds, I do the same thing where I just take a bunch of discs I've never thrown before, try to dial them in, and then see if they make the bag.
So you leave the Legos and the Minecraft at home. There's no space for it out here on the tour?
Yeah. I would never really. I considered maybe bringing like a gaming console on tour, but I just don't want to distract myself.
It's dangerous.
I also, I wouldn't bring Legos on tour. it's probably not good. So, just leave it at home. Stick to disc golf. When I'm home, I can do it. I still play disc golf when I'm home a lot, but I'm out here to play disc golf and try to do my best and win tournaments. So, when it comes to preparation like that, I take it a lot more seriously this year than I have other years, and I think it's been paying off.
So you've won the last 2. Where are your expectations for this event right now?
I know this tournament's missing a couple players. I don't believe Calvin is here. Eagle's not here, and so I think it gives me a good opportunity to maybe get a 3rd win in a row. Obviously, it's never easy on the Pro Tour. Anyone can pop off. I know this weather has this weekend has some weather in it, and I'm not historically great in the rain, and so that's going to be a bit of a challenge for me. I think I'm just going to try to not bogey, especially when it gets rainy out, because this course is, there's a lot of spots where you can just throw wherever you want. So if you're taking bogeys, you're going to be losing strokes to the field no matter what. There's not too many like scary holes out here, really. It's kind of just like throw your second shot, get up and down. There's a couple holes, but not too many that I think of and I worry about.
Well, what do you think the biggest challenge is for you when it's raining? I mean, is it your footwork, or is it grip on the disc?
Grip, for sure.
Yeah. What do you do to kind of appease that?
Yeah, it's tough because it's like, when you dry off the disc, it gets like way too sticky, and then you use your chalk, and then it gets too slick again. And then obviously you don't want to throw the wet disc, and so it's kind of like it's tough to find that mix. And I usually am like, I fiddle a lot with my disc before I throw, just kind of trying to find the right grip I want. Like especially like when I putt too, I like do this thing where I like spread the chalk on the front of the disc, and it's it could just be like a routine thing. And when you can't do that, when you can't like line your putt up or line your drive up because there's raindrops falling on your hand, it's like it's kind of hard to get into that like routine, that rhythm, and it feels like when you throw, you just kind of don't really know where it's going. And so that's my biggest challenge. I definitely play a lot quicker in the rain. I just try to hide it under my shirt, and then when I'm ready, I just go up and throw. I try to like almost do like a mental routine where it's like in my head, and I'm like imagining lining up a shot, but I'm not actually doing it. Just making sure, I set myself up for success while I'm on the tee pad, or, when I'm, maybe if I'm walking up to my lie, thinking about what my shot's going to be or what the wind's doing. That way I don't have to do too much when I get to my disc.
Well, last one for you, Gannon. If we do end up playing 3 rounds in the wind and the rain, what do you think the final winning score is going to be?
Usually preserve when it's nice, like 35 can win, 32 can win. It plays very easy. I know my practice round yesterday, I went 11 under in the last 12 holes and didn't do anything crazy. Out here, it feels like if you get on a streak, it's pretty easy to keep it going. If you're good at throwing stock shots, you can play really good out here. It's just a lot of stock shots. And so nothing crazy, nothing too special, nothing that no one has. Everybody has these kind of shots out here. So usually up at the top, you see a lot of people tight, and that's the toughest part. Is just when you have so many people in contention, anything can happen. You almost have to just catch hot for a couple of holes to be in the lead. And so if I could get myself to 30 under for the event, I'd be pretty happy. I think with the weather, that's going to give me a decent chance.
Cool.
Goal tomorrow is just not shoot myself out of it for round one. But if I am 3-4 back, you can always have a hot round to make up for it, and anything can happen in the final round.
Cool. Thanks for the interview, Gannon, and good luck with the conditions this week.
Thanks.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. We've got Holyn Handley. Holyn, you finally did it. You won. You won one.
Yep.
No more second place. No more talks of podium. How has it felt since Beaver State?
I got to enjoy doing the circuit of podcasts, and it was nice having that week off, so I didn't feel like I was rushed to get all of that stuff in and have it impacting the preparation for the next event. But honestly, I've been here since Thursday. I'm ready to get this thing started.
Been here a week.
Yeah, I've been here a week already, so I've gotten lots of practice in. It's actually taken probably more discipline to not practice too much, and to take the rest that I need. But I feel like my normal self, just ready to get after it.
Well, what does too much practice look like, or what is the right amount of practice for you?
Yeah, so I kind of think of it as like I have like a fatigue threshold, and if I'm over that, it's detrimental to my performance. So if I'm too sore, too stiff, it'll throw my timing off and I won't perform as well. So I want to make sure I'm not doing so much the week of the event that I'm not recovered by Friday.
Yeah.
And so I know for me, we played Blue Ribbon Pines on Friday, and then I came over here and played a practice round at Everett right after, because I was just enjoying disc golf and really excited about it. And then, was really sore Saturday. So it's kind of been just because I don't have very much to do, it's I want to go play. It's don't play so much that by the time Friday hits, I'm too sore to play well.
Yeah. Is there any kind of training that you do to kind of push that fatigue threshold a little higher?
Yeah, I do weight training. I've started doing a lot of stretch training this year too, just to be able to handle some weirder positions for scrambling and putting and such, and that definitely helps. And then in the off season, I definitely push that and try to find out where that limit is, so that I know where it is during the season and I never am in danger of going past it.
Yeah. Well, so since the win, do you feel like there's any kind of weight lifted? Is there any truth to that monkey off the back statement?
Maybe a little bit, especially, things being so competitive, over at Discraft, and I was very aware that I was the only person on the Elite Team FPO who hadn't won an Elite Series yet.
Okay.
And so it feels nice to have that win and to kind of feel like I'm among peers there.
Yeah, was it, at all special for it to be Beaver State Fling, where you almost did it the year prior? Going into it, you had to have a little bit of that memory still fresh on your mind?
Oh yeah, me and Tyler were joking on hole 1 that no one's going to ace in my face on the very first hole because I get to tee first. So there wasn't any way that was going to happen.
Wow.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, I had the same thoughts going into Music City and into DDO because those were ones last year where I was very close. And so to have kind of back-to-back years at 2 events already where I had been really close, to close it out was really good.
So what are your memories like out here at the Preserve?
Oh, I love the Preserve. This was actually my very first lead card. That wasn't a feature card. It was the final round 2 years ago, and it was Missy, Paige, and Ella, who are now like 3 of my best friends on tour.
Yeah.
So that was a really fun memory, and that was another one. I didn't play great that last round, but I did hit like a huge putt on 18 and got the crowd really hyped. So that was another one of those moments for me.
Cool.
And then I've had really good finishes out here, so it definitely plays my game really well.
Well, what do you think separates the Preserve from other disc golf courses and more just the experience out here? I know a lot of players like to camp on the course. Is that something that you also like to enjoy?
Yeah, I'm actually dry camping just over there. It's been weird this year because the field got flooded after we arrived. So we got here Thursday and then it rained a bunch on Saturday. So there's hardly anybody actually parked over there.
Yeah.
So it hasn't really felt like quite the same group camping experience just because we are kind of isolated from everybody, and I got here so much earlier than everybody else did. But this is one of the tournaments where Ella and Raven and I really started to become friends that first year on tour because we were just hanging out every single night. So yeah, it definitely has some special meaning for that.
Cool. And as far as the touring situation goes, do you feel like you have your ideal touring setup to really be at your best each weekend?
Absolutely. I think there's not a foot of wasted space in our camper. It's very easy. I can hang out in there all day and feel very rested and recovered. It's almost as comfortable as being in any apartment. So
cool. Well, I know there was a lot of rain throughout the week. You said it led to the muddy conditions. Mm-hmm. With rain predicted this weekend, do you get out and throw in the rain to kind of prepare for that, or do you take those moments off when it's raining?
Generally, I prefer to practice in good conditions because if we do have good conditions, that's when everyone's going to be scoring well, and that's when I need to score really well. And so I prefer to practice and have a really solid game plan for that and then make adjustments. Because one rain round's much like the next one. It's make sure your grip is good, consider standstills when the footing's really bad, and so I will make those adjustments if I need to. But I really prefer to practice in calm conditions. Also, I think it lowers injury risk because a lot of times, they're usually pretty good during the tournament of keeping tee pads and stuff cleaned up and laying mulch and hay and stuff. But sometimes during the week, it's not the tee pads aren't getting as cleaned, and sometimes they're worse, and so there's a little bit higher risk of injury, I think, practicing in the rain.
Well, what's the hardest part of disc golf for you when the rain is really coming down?
It's just trying to not let it frustrate me, because so much of disc golf is just a competition of who can stay the most calm when diversity hits. And so it's just recognizing that it's going to take a little bit longer. You need a little extra patience. There's going to be more backups. It's uncomfortable being in the rain, and just kind of accept that that's going to happen and try to do your best anyway.
Well, what kind of numbers do you expect to take this down if it does, rain pretty heavy Friday and Saturday?
I'm so bad at predicting scores, honestly.
Well, what are you going to shoot?
Hopefully, 10, 11 every day. That'd be pretty sweet. That'd probably do it.
Cool. All right, Holyn, thanks so much for the interview, and we'll see you out there tomorrow morning.
Yep, see you.
We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. We've got Raven Klein for you. Raven, are you from around here?
I am, yes. I kind of consider this one of my home courses.
Okay, so Minneapolis is where you
grew up south in Burnsville, but I currently live up in Maple Grove, so 45 minutes from here.
So is that where you found disc golf early on? Or?
Yeah, I had a course really close to my house when I was younger, but never really thought about it.
Yeah.
I think I went once with my brother when I was in like 6th grade, but I was really just there because my older brother asked me to do something, and I was like, yeah, I'll go. But then I didn't play until COVID.
Okay, yeah. So. I remember talking to you about, competitive volleyball and how much you enjoyed that. Do you feel like a disc golf really fills the void of not competing in that sport any longer?
I would say it fills most of it because I get the competitive nature, and I've always liked the aspect of like solo sports. Like I played singles badminton, and I always like that over doubles. But I do sometimes still miss the team aspect, and I mean I love volleyball, so every once in a while, like every time I pass a court, my brain is like, you should probably just go hop in with those people.
Yeah. Well, where's your game at right now? Do you still feel like you're getting better every week? We've seen you kind of pop up and have some really high rated rounds this season. Where are you at from your perspective?
I feel like because I started so late, I'm still in that growth phase. So I had a really high spike at the beginning of playing disc golf, and then in my eyes plateaued a little bit. But I feel like my game's the best it's been so far, and part of it is that I've made all the mistakes before.
Yeah.
And so now I'll walk up to the same thing and just be like, nope, you know better now. And I knew better last year, but I was still like, you could probably try.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, nope, there's an aspect of playing golf that I finally like wrapped my head around. It's like, this is your job. You're competing. And to do that, sometimes you have to swallow your pride and lay up for a bogey when there's a dangerous green. And I finally listen to that part of my brain, and it makes a big difference.
Well, how do you feel like your game is going to set up for the Preserve course this weekend?
I feel so comfortable when I'm here. Last year, I finally got a taste of that when I opened up with like a really good start to my round one, and I just felt so at home here. And I have a lot of people who come to visit and see me here, and it just warms my heart to have such a solid like Minnesota crowd.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to. I think I've got more distance back that I lost a year ago or so when I was changing things in my form. And when I played my practice rounds out here, I felt so comfortable. I was getting looks at things I haven't really gotten looks at here before.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. And my putting feels really good.
Cool. Well, what do you think it is about the Preserve that does Minnesota golf justice?
It's such a beautiful property. I feel like the tour's seen it in a couple different lights. We had the absolute perfect year where it was sunny, 70s, and nothing went wrong. We had a year with smoke from the fires where people couldn't even see the Preserve.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, you guys are really missing out. It's cool here. And this year we're finally going to get a little bit of rain, maybe some wind, which everyone from Minnesota is used to. But this property, I've never been here without seeing like a bald eagle and wildlife, and it's just like this little slice of heaven that you wouldn't expect to find when you're like driving up the highway.
Yeah.
And we're available to camp here. It's a beautiful spot. You're right near the river, and it just shows a lot of what Minnesota has. Everyone always thinks it's snowy here, and it's actually really beautiful for half of the year.
Are you one to get out and float on the river?
I am, yeah. It's really fun. There's a spot across the river with like a rope swing. It's just so nice because it's not like the rapids we do up at Milo, and you really can just relax for like an hour and do nothing.
Yeah. Those rapids were a lot this year.
They were, yeah.
It was really flowing. Well, with the rain coming this weekend, is that something that causes you some nerves? Like, is it hard to look at that forecast and be comfortable, or how do you feel about it?
Not at all. Usually, so I love rain. And obviously, if you have a perfect day to play in, you're a little more excited. But I think so many people have a negative attitude toward rain, and they get so upset about it that by going out being excited for the rain, I feel like I save 3 strokes on the field minimum. And I have a pretty solid routine, and when I walk up to something, unless something crazy happens, I know what I'm throwing. I have an idea, so I just keep that disc dry, walk up, and I don't have to stare at it for my 30 seconds before I throw. So my disc stays dry, and I have good grip.
Well, can you kind of elaborate on that rain routine? I know it's different for everybody, and it seems to zap a lot of energy. Are you going to have a caddy?
I am, yes. I have my main caddy, Tony. He's wonderful. We have a couple tricks that we like use to keep things really dry, and always have backups. Like he carries an actual like canoe like dry bag with my towels in it. So those are all my backup ones. But I'll pretty much just stand behind him under the umbrella until it's my turn, and then I put the disc like under my shirt until I walk up, visualize a shot in my head, and then I'll just throw. So
yeah, cool. Well, Raven, I'm going to put you on the spot. Where do you think the winning score is going to be, and where do you think the cash line is going to be this weekend?
I mean, the FPO cash line just keeps climbing.
Yeah.
You have to be averaging like 950, 960 to get last cash.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be any different here. We've had several events where even doesn't make cash, and out here I think that's going to stand, like that's not going to work.
Got to shoot under par.
You got to shoot under par to cash. That's my thought here with this field. As far as winning score, not my strong suit at guessing, kind of like Holyn, but with the weather, I'm going to say the winning score is like 26.
Cool. Raven, thanks so much for the interview. And
of course.
Best of luck and enjoying the rainfall tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I will. It's going to be a lot of puddles.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. Odie, not your first time here, but for the people that don't know, can you introduce yourself to the fans at home?
Yes, I'm Odie. I'm Tom Odegaard. I'm a TD here in Minnesota. Run the Airborne Tour with Kale LaVisca. We have the Hollows course, which is close to BRP. It's the old Vision Quest course here in Minnesota. But yeah, I think I've been in the disc golf scene for quite a while. And really got into TDing in the last few years and kind of learned the ropes from Kale. So it's been a lot of taking that stress off of him, letting him play. Rule change. He couldn't TD anymore for a lot of the bigger events. So just try to step up, where I could.
And so I know that Airborne passed on the reins to this property and this tournament as well. So what's the dynamic like for you guys to still be the tournament director?
Yeah, so essentially, Gotta Go, Gotta Throw took over the property, and they do all the facility management. So all the guys that are out here working hard, getting the course cut and clean, and getting everything nice for the actual event has been, all those guys, and they're doing a really good job. I think the experience level that Kale and I bring to TDing events, and also just knowing the Airborne Preserve really well, it's really just been kind of one of these things that it happened organically. It just more or less we knew what we had to do, and there's a little bit of a division of trying to understand like roles, but this year's been really honestly pretty smooth compared to last year where we were kind of figuring it out and still getting used to everything. But it's good, man. Like there hasn't really been any big issues. I keep waiting for something to pop off, and have to run and take care of. But for the most part, it's been pretty solid, nothing to really say. So.
Well, what do you think separates the Preserve from other stops on the tour?
Oh, it's a great question, but I think honestly we try to have it, or at least my vision is always more of like that summer camp feel. I want all the pros to come in here and feel relaxed. I want them to have showers. I want them to have bathrooms. I want them to have secluded areas, places they can go check out the river. They can check out the ponds. They can do fishing. Not necessarily getting away from the disc golf, like why we're all here, but more or less just to give them the ability to just cut loose and be out on the property, because it's all dedicated. There's no park people walking through. There's no like bikers coming through. It's just disc golf out here, so it's fun.
Well, what can a spectator expect when they show up to the Preserve this weekend?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that sets us apart is the viewing. We have, I think, one of the best. I haven't been to every obviously tour stop, but I think we have one of the best for viewership. So when you come out here, you have stands you can get into. We have a big monitor that's going to be set up in the vendor village area. If you want to grab something to eat and grab something to drink, you can sit down and still watch the coverage that's happening. But really, you can access basically every hole besides like 3 or 4 of them. And that's, I think, awesome, because most of us want to either go to a certain hole that we've seen thrown many times, or essentially work with those pros and watch those pros and walk with them as they're competing, and you can get everywhere on the property. So,
well, how involved are you in the course design aspects with Kale and the changes on holes 8 and 10?
Not so much. That's one of those things where Kale's always had the vision. He is, I think, what we would consider is Minnesota disc golf. And so that's always more or less his game and what he takes on. So when he's out there working on course, you should see his process. Like he's dialed in, he's chewing it up, trying to figure it out, what he wants to change. And then when he makes those changes, they're always, I feel like, bettering courses. So wherever he goes, whatever he's building, and especially at the Preserve, it's always to improve the pace of play, the actual hole challenges, all that stuff. So I don't know. I think I'm very, very happy with what he's been taking on, but I haven't really had to jump into that, and I'm kind of glad not to. I got so much going on otherwise, so it makes it easy. Hey, Phil.
And with you just mentioned to me you've got another tournament coming up next weekend, the Majestic. How do you balance the two, or is it just this is the priority number one, and then you just get right back to it?
Yeah, that was it. We really wanted to be able to kind of go back to back with them, because then we obviously get a lot more of the better competition and pros playing the Majestic, and I think it's a little bit of a bucket list item for some of the pros at least, to either win it or to compete in it. But that's exactly right. Kale and I talked throughout the whole week, and he's been focused on kind of the TDing aspects that are needed for the Majestic, and I'm focused on this. But as soon as Monday hits, I'm kitting up and I'm getting over to the Hollows, and I'm going to start working on that course, working with Ray Jordan over at BRP on that course, making sure everything's dialed in. But it takes a lot of trust, and it just takes a lot of preparation, and then truly just going dark and focusing on one thing, because that's how you get it done.
And zooming back into this weekend's tournament, with the rain that's forecasted for the weekend, what kind of precaution, or what can you do as a tournament director to kind of mitigate some of the issues that a lot of that rain might cause?
Yeah, and that's the property itself is very unique. We're obviously right next to the river, so the area basically all on that side of the property is kind of a danger zone for cars getting stuck or for people getting stuck. But I mean, what we try to do is keep people on the main road, keep people dry up in the areas where they're going to stay dry for the entire weekend if possible. Try not to say the R word as much as possible as well. But yeah, it's more or less just getting the plan in place to exit quick, and or if we have to shut down or do a delay like that, it's all basically getting the spectators to their vehicles, getting the players to their vehicles, and then trying to wait it out. But it's a unique property in that sense. It's a very big property, to get everybody up and down on. So.
And being the tournament director, when the tournament's going on this weekend, are you able to actually get out and spectate it all and enjoy some of the hard work?
Yeah, this year I should be able to more for sure. We got a good team in place. I got an assistant tournament director as well, Shane Humphrey, who's under me as well this year, and he took over a huge load of the volunteers last year, and then now this year he's kind of owned it. So that helps out a lot. And then, I mean, the Pro Tour guys, too, with Phil and Brian Cole in the backgrounds, but Greg on site, Max, all these guys that are out here to help us, it really does kind of cover, those bases pretty easy. So, I don't know. I should be able to get out and have some fun.
Cool.
I
Good,
should
man.
be able to watch. So,
Good.
Yeah.
Odie, is there anything else you'd like to add? Anyone you'd like to thank for helping make this all happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm really happy with Charlie and his crew from Gotta Go. Hutch is a big help and kind of a vibe out here. We have, kind of a night scene as well, which is fun for a lot of the players out at Hutchville. But yeah, guys like Mason Johnson out there mowing, Grizz cutting trees down, Nick, he's a new guy this year that's been out here clearing trees. I mean, these are the types of people that come out and they're never seen, and they're the ones that are those unsung heroes. So that's, kind of the crew, the main crew. Jazz, she works the main pro shop, kind of keeps it held down. So it's just a big process for all of them, but they're all a big part of it, and hopefully they also get to have some time to go out and enjoy it. So yeah, appreciate them a lot.
Well, Odie, thanks so much for the interview, and thanks for all your hard work. Best of luck with your event this week.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
We'll be right back. Phil DeLone. Welcome back, everybody. Phil DeLone. We've missed you out on the tour, Phil. Welcome back.
Thank you, Nate.
What are you working on right now? What's your biggest, goal right now with the DGPT?
Right now, I just got back on the road here for the preserve. I was out for a couple of weeks. Didn't go out west. I went to Europe. Right now we're working on 2025 event contracts, so we're kind of like finalizing. Most likely it's going to be the same carbon copy from 2024. We're just adding in a couple new additions that we're going to have for next year's events. So one thing we're doing notably is like T-pad standards. We're going to elevate those and do some more preferred stuff. So you need a waiver outside if you don't have like cement or our preferred X-Step Pro T-pads that we got a lot of praise there at Portland for the Portland Open.
So what does the standard look like for the turf? It's you either use the X-Step or you have cement. What are the
or if an event would have turf like the preserve, like this event, we would just inspect it and see if it meets qualifications. And we usually use the previous year's event as feedback. So if players were slipping or really really bad, we would probably ask them. We would probably decline that waiver. Mm-hmm. But there are some other turfs that are good turfs. I mean, there's a lot of different turfs out there that could bring up the standard, but for now we're trying to give the players a repeatable, consistent T-pad, no matter where they are. So if it's 6x12 and it's green X-Step Pro, or if it's something from a cement T-pad or anything like that, we just want to make sure as we continually grow, we're setting these standards and upholding to them.
Mm-hmm. And so concerning the baskets, is that something that's on the horizon as well for the DGPT to set a standard there?
Yeah, we have had some talks with the Players Council. Jeff Spring is also he's been talking to some manufacturers and trying to get a lot of testing done around the Pro Tour Championships, USCGC. We really want to see the player feedback and get exactly the events, the baskets that we actually know are going to work and are approved, and then go from there. So, we might have 5 baskets approved, we might have 3 baskets approved, but we would like to get the players foundation first and then kind of go from there and what we're going to do for the next steps. But we're definitely putting in some standards, and hopefully we can get some feedback from the players, and we've gotten it online and stuff, and maybe it makes everyone continually raise the bar on their own baskets, given the manufacturer. So
well, zooming into the weather conditions this weekend, how much does the Disc Golf Pro Tour, or how much are you guys talking to, local weather people? How much is Seth involved? Do you think we're going to play all 54 holes this weekend?
Yeah, as far as playing all 54 holes, I hope so. I'm going to try to be as positive as possible on that. We have a meteorologist on staff. He's a contractor. His name's Austin. Does great work for us, works alongside Seth Muncie and kind of gives him annual reports, weekly reports, and also does our weather over there in Europe as well and reads the charts. So talking to him, we have a lot of weather coming on Friday. We have some inclement weather with a chance of lightning. So once that happens, it's always, battle in the trenches with operations. We're looking to get people off the course safely. We are parking people on property here so we can get them to shelter pretty quick. And yeah, I hope that we can, continue play as fast as possible. And if we don't, we've done this at Waco, we've done this at other events. We will most likely restart MPO Saturday morning extremely early, and then try to catch back up. So the forecast gets a little thinner throughout the week. Saturday we're looking a little bit better. We're going to have some rain, although we might not have thunder and lightning. And Sunday we should be out of it. So if anything, Sunday is just going to be a long day, but we're looking to, as always, just to try to complete as many holes as we possibly can.
And outside of the golf itself, what other complications is the rain going to bring for the tournament?
Yeah, so we have 3 to 4 inches coming, which is going to be a lot. We have had a 24-ton semi full of like a double compound aggregate that we got dropped off. We've been putting it all around the tee pads you'll notice out there, as well as mulch. So we have a base layer of like a bunch of gravel and then fines, and then we've also been putting mulch on that. So the biggest thing we want is to eliminate mud all around here, not only for the safety of the players, but the safety of the spectators. Given that we're going to have 3.5 inches of water hit this place, it used to be a golf course, so it does drain well. And it's got the ponds and the runoffs in the Mississippi, but that's the highest it's ever been in the history of this event, I think. And so the complications are just going to be parking, making sure that people are in and out. We got a good plan. We got a lot of aggregate left. What we're going to be dumping on the areas that we see that are bad right away, to try to mitigate that through the day instead of just wait until everyone can't leave the property. So I think we got a good plan. The LOC is pretty solid. We got a good core team here with Charlie and his guys. So I think collectively, everyone on the ground we just know it's going to be a little wet one. So we'll do everything we can to make it a good show.
What kind of separates the Preserve from other stops on the tour as far as, getting spectators in here and the experience that they can have?
Yeah, as far as getting in, I think it's one of the best as far as we have a controlled private property. So we always look for venues that we can have one access point. And, with this, we have a river as a gate, and we have a complete forest around here as well as some hills. So, but just getting everyone in here, the Preserve, I think, has one of the best viewing on tour. So we have an amazing walk along from 1 through 4. Spectators won't be able to see hole 5, 6, and 7. I think it's unique. They'll watch 7 from the tee, but I think it's a unique way to give the players a little breath. They have a long walk across the driving range that we're sitting on that kind of get them to think. 6 is a pretty tight, narrow par 4, so it's one more set before the fans start getting in their face again on 7. But as far as just the overall spectating experience, we got bathrooms, vendors, food at pavilions out on hole 9 and 10. A really good Tournament Central experience. A lot of different food vendors will be here as well. So I think it's just a great place to be. The players love it too. They can camp on site. We got showers on site. We got portable restrooms on site with flushable toilets. So it's a venue with low amenities, but we always seem to come and raise it up to par for this event and blow it out of the water. So.
Well, we won't grill you too in depth about the 2025 schedule, but is it safe to say Preserve is going to be on there next year?
It always does well with spectators, so no one has signed a contract yet, but it's looking like it will be. It's always an exciting finish, so it's looking like it'll stay on there for now. So.
Well, you just got back from Europe. Are you also going to Europe in the near future for the swing?
I'm not going to Europe for the our operations director, Brian Cole, is going to be going to Crokel and the European Open. So he'll be supporting the DGN staff abroad. So we're setting limited operations crew over there now that we've established and partnered over there. We have our DGPT. So we have Miko, which is going to be kind of helping us with more boots on the ground when we're over there.
Cool. All right, Phil, thanks so much for the interview, and best of luck with everything going on this weekend.
Thanks, Nate.
And that's a wrap on the 2024 Preserve press conference, guys. Thanks for joining us.